Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me directly for pricing. My email is tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a lovely M-Series circa 2008 Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36, reference 1160000904L stainless steel, classically profiled with a lovely radial numeral Explorer dial, concentric dial. We'll talk about that in a moment, but first, the size. 36 millimeters, a very traditional Rolex case size. The watch is 11.8 millimeters thick. It's 44.1 millimeters from lug to lug if you include the solid end links of the bracelet. Still just 45.7 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and the watch looks great. 36 is a very traditional Rolex size. It's been around for decades. It's been around since the eve and aftermath of World War II. It has been a traditional size for Datejusts, Oyster Perpetuals, and, of course, day dates. The watch on my wrist, of course, being 36 millimeters, picks up the threads of history from both the Explorer and the Oyster Perpetual, and you can see that it's suitable for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters in circumference, low enough to slide underneath the cuff, and then from over the top, nowhere near the edge of my wrist. I might even say 13 centimeters circumference. You can wear this watch. I consider it to be a viable unisex option. Now, of course, I'll show you all the elements that recall past Rolex timepieces, but let's take a look at the bracelet first. Rolex has its own foundry. It makes its own highly anti-corrosive 904L steel. This steel can be bathed in salt water and then removed without rinsing, whereas conventional 316 generally needs to be rinsed to avoid oxidation. No need here. Top of the Oyster 3-link bracelet satinated. The outer face is polished, removable links fixed by screws. And then we have media blasting inside the clasp. You can see there's both a beak and a hook. It's a lift lock system, so you can't just pull it open. You must unlatch and unlock it. And so it is a secure system in spite of not having the clamshell. This generation of Oyster Perpetual did not feature the easy link, but you can see there are 3 divots drilled inside the clasp, and you can use your strap tool to re-anchor the bracelet in those 3 divots inside the clasp. We have the embossed rather than the raised crown because it's an OP, and then a lovely graceful case with handsome tapered lugs satinated on the top, polished on the side. You can see they have a lovely curvature to them. The curve of the domed bezel continues into the case band. This is not the sheer case we associate with the Subs, Sea Dwellers, GMTs, and Explorer 2s. Now you can see the watch features a twin lock crown, screw down, 100-meter water resistance. I mentioned Datejusts, Day-Dates, Oyster Perpetuals, and Explorers, and this watch shares a similar profile with all of them and a very similar dial layout with the Explorers. The profile of the case with a little bit of a bubblish aesthetic thanks to the domed rather than conical bezel, recalling the 1933 Rolex Oyster Perpetual, nicknamed the Bubbleback because of the inclusion of the clearance for the winding rotor. It combined the Oyster water-resistant case with the Perpetual automatic winding system, hence Oyster Perpetual. It was the first modern format sports watch and really the first modern format Rolex. But here we also have the 369 tri-Arabic numerals associated with the so-called Rolex Explorer dials. You've got those. You can see that they are applique, and like the rest of the dial, radially arrayed. You can see that there are numerals. We also have hash marks outboard. We have lovely bubble numerals actually used for the minutes and seconds, and you can see that the applique numerals, the 5-point crown, and then the hands are all white gold to resist tarnish and oxidation. We have a radial sunburst on silver that emanates from an imaginary center point underneath the hands, effectively where the cannon pinion would be. Then you can see there's different silver used for the interiors of the bubble numerals as well as the track, where officially certified Oyster Perpetual superlative chronometer is printed in a round-robin form that's very different from typical Rolex dial block text. And then we have metallic, blue metallic, concentric gadroons on the center. So this is known as the concentric dial. It is a very different look. Let's do a quick loom shot so you can see how it looks at night. Quite easy to discern. And then inside the case, caliber 3130, 31 joules, 8 beats per second, bidirectional automatic winding, 48-hour power reserve, stop seconds or hacking function if you want it, protected down to 100 meters. This is a movement that features a full balance bridge and a free sprung index for shock tolerance, an anti-magnetic niobium zirconium hairspring, and that hairspring is a Breguet overcoil made by hand that allows the watch to keep even time, neither gaining nor losing, in any physical orientation with respect to gravity, and on top of all that, it is what the dial proclaims an officially certified COSC chronometer. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.